In a galaxy where punishment meant exile and danger meant tourism, one alien's plan to create the perfect prison planet unleashed a cosmic phenomenon no simulation could predict. What was designed as a fortress of fear became the playground of the most unpredictable pussies in the universe: humans. Welcome to Exile Prime, where your worst nightmare is just the start of their vacation. "You can't be serious, High Commander Supreme Overseer Drojal," First Lieutenant Zarnix exclaimed, their crystalline appendages clicking rapidly against the polished obsidian floor. "You want me to oversee the establishment of a prison planet for those creatures?" High Commander Supreme Overseer Drojal's bioluminescent patches pulsed with what could only be described as smug amusement. The ancient ZX Thraxians' 4 eyes blinked in perfect sequence as they regarded their subordinates' obvious discomfort. "Oh, I'm entirely serious, Zarnix. And please do control your crystalline formations. You're scratching my favorite floor." Supreme Overseer Drojal's voice carried that irritating sing-song quality that made Zarnix want to molt prematurely. "Besides, you did say you wanted what was it?" "Ah, yes, a challenging assignment worthy of your talents." Zarnix's external membrane flushed a deep shade of embarrassed purple. "Yes, but humans. The Deathworlders, the same species that looked at one of the most hostile planets we'd ever discovered and said, and I quote, 'Neat, let's build a beach house.' The very same Supreme Overseer Drojal's enthusiasm was absolutely infuriating. "Isn't it wonderful? The Galactic Council has finally approved my proposal. We're going to create the perfect prison planet for handling human criminals, rebels, and general troublemakers." Zarnix's sensory tendrils drooped. "With all due respect, High Commander, have you perhaps been consuming too much fermented stellar nectar? These are the same beings who turned their own prison continent into a thriving civilization. They named it Australia, and now it's one of their most beloved territories. Precisely why we're going to do better." Supreme Overseer Drojal activated their holoprojector, displaying a massive planet rotating slowly in the air between them. "Meet Exile Prime, or as I like to call it, our masterpiece." The planet was, well, Zarnix had to admit, it was impressive, in a terrifying sort of way. Gravity 1.3 times Earth standard, atmosphere thick with various noble gases that humans found challenging but not impossible to breathe, and surface conditions that made Australia look like a luxury resort. "We've engineered everything perfectly," Supreme Overseer Drojal continued, their enthusiasm reaching dangerous levels. The continent-sized desert regions reach temperatures of 65 DDC during the day and 20 DDC at night. The equatorial jungles are filled with carnivorous plants that we've specifically designed to be resistant to fire, because we know they'll try to burn them. The polar regions have predators that make Earth's extinct megalodons look like pet fish. Zarnix felt their primary stomach churn. "And you really think this will contain them?" Supreme Overseer Drojal's bioluminescence dimmed slightly. "Well, probably. We've run thousands of simulations. Like the simulations that said they couldn't possibly survive on Mars without our help? The same humans who are now running tourist operations there?" "This is different," Supreme Overseer Drojal insisted, waving their upper appendages dismissively. "We've thought of everything. The oceans are filled with creatures that make Earth's box jellyfish look friendly. The mountains have magnetic properties that interfere with most navigation equipment. We've even engineered the local equivalent of mosquitoes to be the size of their small birds." Zarnix's horror must have been evident, because Supreme Overseer Drojal quickly added, "Don't worry, You'll have a fully staffed orbital station. Complete safety. The humans will be transported down to the surface and will monitor their attempts to survive. It's foolproof. You said that about the Martian terraforming project, Zarnix muttered. Now they're growing potatoes there and calling it Martian farming, which is precisely why you're perfect for this job. Supreme Overseer Drozhal's enthusiasm returned full force. You understand their peculiarities, their strange ability to look at certain death and say, "Hold my beer," though I still don't understand what beer has to do with anything. Zarnix's secondary brain began processing resignation paperwork, while their primary brain tried to form a coherent argument. High Commander, these are the same beings who discovered one of their planets had acid rain and decided to build colonies there anyway. They called it character-building weather. Yes, and that's why we've made this planet even worse. They can't possibly. A junior officer burst into the room, their membranes flashing urgent patterns. High Commander, we've had a leak. Someone posted about Exile Prime on something called Reddit. Supreme Overseer Drozhal's bioluminescence flickered in confusion. And? The junior officer's voice trembled. We're already receiving applications from humans. Voluntary applications. They're calling it Exile Prime, the ultimate challenge, and they're offering to pay us for the experience. Zarnix's crystalline appendages made a sound suspiciously like a facepalm against their exoskeleton. Let me guess, they're already designing survival gear? The junior officer nodded miserably. Worse, they're designing surfboards for the methane lakes in the polar regions, something about extreme sports potential. Supreme Overseer Drozhal's 4 eyes blinked rapidly in succession. But the methane lakes are populated by predatory creatures that can swallow their watercraft whole. They're calling it danger surfing, the junior officer reported. There's already a waiting list and someone named Xtrem Bro 69 is trying to copyright the term. Zarnix turned to Supreme Overseer Drozhal, their voice dripping with the kind of sarcasm that could corrode starship hull plating. Congratulations, High Commander. You haven't designed a prison planet. You've invented the galaxy's most popular extreme tourism destination. Supreme Overseer Drozhal's bioluminescence dimmed to almost nothing. Perhaps we should reconsider our approach. Oh, no, Zarnix replied, their crystalline appendages now clicking with barely suppressed amusement. You wanted me to oversee this project? Fine, but I'm going to need a bigger budget. For more security measures? Supreme Overseer Drozhal asked hopefully. No, for a gift shop. Trust me, we're going to need one. And maybe a coffee shop. Humans can't seem to function without something called espresso, even on death worlds. The junior officer raised a trembling appendage. Should I tell them about the giant carnivorous trees in the equatorial regions? Don't bother, Zarnix sighed. They'll probably try to build tree houses in them. And somewhere on Earth, thousands of humans were already packing their bags, checking their survival gear, and updating their social media profiles with the hashtag #ExilePrimeChallenge. The galaxy's most secure prison planet was about to become its most trending tourist destination, and Zarnix had a feeling this was just the beginning of their problems. 3 solar cycles later, Zarnix stood in the orbital station's observation deck, watching their career prospects spiral into the same gravitational well as Exile Prime below. Beside them, their newly appointed Assistant Nexari, was reading the latest reports with increasing bewilderment. So let me understand this correctly, Assistant Nexari said, their phosphorescent spots flickering in confusion. Not only are humans volunteering to be sent to a prison planet, but they're also raiding it. Zarnix's crystalline formations drooped in resignation. Yes, something called Yelp for Death Worlds. We currently have 4.5 stars. We lost half a star because insufficient Wi-Fi coverage in the volcanic regions, Zarnix muttered. Apparently, humans want to stream their near-death experiences in real time. Subiwo slowly. The observation deck's doors whooshed open, and High Commander Supreme Overseer Drojal floated in, looking like someone had just told them their species would be going extinct, starting with them. Zarnix, have you seen the latest human transmissions? If you're referring to the Methane Lake Surfing Championship highlights, then yes, though I'm still trying to understand how they managed to domesticate the predatory lake dwellers. They're calling them danger dolphins. Assistant Nexari helpfully supplied. Apparently they're training them with something called treats and belly rubs. Drojal's bioluminescence flickered in distress. That's not even the worst part. Remember those carnivorous trees we engineered? Zarnix had a feeling they weren't going to like what came next. The ones that can uproot themselves and hunt prey. The humans are... Drojal seemed to be having trouble forming words. They're racing them. Kulara quickly pulled up a holographic display showing footage from the surface. Sure enough, a group of humans were perched atop the massive carnivorous trees, using elaborate harness systems to steer them. They're calling it Tree Cross, Kulara explained, sounding both horrified and impressed. The defending champion is someone named Timber Surferx, who apparently learned to communicate with the trees using a combination of synthesized pheromones and interpretive dance. Zarnix's external membranes cycled through several shades of disbelief. Please tell me that's all. Well, Kulara's voice took on that particular tone that suggested Zarnix's day was about to get much worse. Remember those giant mosquitoes we engineered? Don't tell me. The humans have started a racing league. They're calling it the Mosquito Grand Prix. They fitted them with saddles and everything. There's even a junior league for their younglings. Drojal's 4 eyes closed in sequence, each one looking more defeated than the last. This was supposed to be a punishment, a deterrent. How did it go so wrong? Zarnix was about to offer some sarcastic consolation when their communication panel lit up with an urgent message. Oh, what now? Have they started using our acid geysers for spa treatments? Kulara checked the message and somehow managed to look even more bewildered. Actually, it's a business proposal from something called Disney Galactic Entertainment. They want to build a theme park. A what? Drojal and Zarnix exclaimed in unison. They're calling it Extreme World, where Death World dreams come true, Kulara read. They're offering quite a substantial investment. Oh, and they want to know if we can engineer more varieties of predatory creatures. Apparently their focus groups are demanding more exciting options for the Platinum Package experiences. Zarnix turned to Drojal, their crystalline appendages clicking with barely contained hysteria. Remember when I said we'd need a gift shop? I'm going to need you to add a few zeros to that budget. But what about its purpose as a prison? Drojal weakly protested. At that moment, another message flashed across the screens. Kulara read it and started making a sound that, in their species, passed for hysterical laughter. What is it now? Zarnix asked, dreading the answer. The actual prisoners we sent down. They've started a tourist guide service. They're calling themselves the Original Exile Prime Pioneers and offering authentic survival experiences to the tourists. They've even set up a loyalty rewards program. Drojal's bioluminescence dimmed to almost nothing. Perhaps we should consider this a successful rehabilitation program. Oh, it gets better, Kulara continued, now practically vibrating with amusement. Remember that particularly notorious human criminal, Max the Menace Martinez, who was supposed to serve a triple life sentence? Don't tell me. He's opened a chain of coffee shops in the cave systems. Extreme Beans coffee, worth dying for. It's apparently very popular. The line for the signature methane mocha spans 3 time zones. Zarnix turned to stare out at the planet below, where they could just make out the lights of what was rapidly becoming the galaxy's most popular and profitable tourist destination. You know what the real punishment would be now. What's that? Drojal asked miserably. Banning humans from coming here, though I suspect they'd probably just start a black market tourism operation and call it Extra Extreme Exile Prime, the Forbidden Experience. Kulara's communication panel pinged again. Speaking of experiences, we've just received a proposal for a reality TV show, something called Keeping Up with the Killer Trees. Drojal finally lost all composure, their crystalline structure practically melting with defeat. I don't suppose it's too late to consider a career change. Look on the bright side, Zarnix offered, their voice dripping with sarcasm. At least we're making a profit. And think of all the valuable research data we're gathering on human behavior. You mean like how they've somehow taught the magnetic mountains to play something called heavy metal music? Kulara asked innocently, the sound of Drojal's crystalline head repeatedly hitting the observation window was almost drowned out by the distant echo of human laughter, and what appeared to be... Was that a mosquito doing loop-de-loops while carrying a banner advertising extreme wedding packages? Zarnix just sighed and made a note to order more espresso machines. Something told them they were going to need them. Welcome to the quarterly review meeting of Project Exile Prime, the Grand Overseer Archon Zeltrix announced, their crystalline form radiating disapproval with such intensity that several junior officers had to activate their protective shields. Let's begin with whatever this is. Zarnix stood before the Galactic Council's review board, trying very hard not to notice how Drojal was attempting to make themselves microscopically small in the corner. The holoprojector displayed various scenes from their prison planet, including what appeared to be a human riding a giant mosquito while playing something called a saxophone. As you can see, Zarnix began, their voice carefully modulated to sound professional rather than hysterical. We've made some adaptations to the original project parameters. Adaptations? Archon Zeltrix's voice could have frozen a sun. Your prison planet has a waiting list longer than the Great Spiral Arm. And why is there a creature called Instagram sending us partnership requests? Kulara, who had somehow been dragged into this presentation, helpfully chimed in. Actually, Instagram is a human social media platform. They want exclusive rights to something called Stories, featuring our carnivorous trees. Apparently the trees have quite a following, especially Tree 4728. They call her Branching Out Barbara. She has more followers than most human celebrities. One of the council members, Wythrix, leaned forward. Are you telling me that the humans have given names to the biological weapons we engineered? Oh, not just names, Kulara continued, somehow missing all of Zarnix's desperate attempts to signal them to stop talking. They've created personalities for them. Barbara is apparently the sassy one who likes to photobomb tourist pictures. And then there's Tim Bark, who's known for his elaborate dance routines. Enough, Archon Zeltrix thundered, causing several light fixtures to shatter. This was supposed to be a detention facility, not a theme park resort and extreme sports destination, Zarnix offered helpfully, figuring they might as well embrace the chaos at this point. Another council member pulled up a different holographic display. What is this about something called Danger Dolphin Racing League? And why are they requesting official Galactic Sports Federation recognition? Ah, yes, Zarnix said. while simultaneously contemplating a career change to something less stressful, like antimatter juggling. It seems the predatory lake dwellers have developed quite a sporting relationship with the humans. They're particularly fond of something called belly rubs and fish treats. Those creatures were designed to be lethal aquatic hunters. They still are, Kulara interjected brightly. They just hunt with the humans now instead of hunting them. Last week, they helped break up an illegal poaching operation. The poachers were trying to steal eggs from the acid-spitting pterodactyl variants. Archon Zeltrix's crystalline structure made an ominous cracking sound. And what happened to these poachers? Oh, they were arrested, but not before the Danger Dolphins convinced them to sign up for the resort's annual membership package. Something about the thrill of the chase really sold them on the experience. Drojal, who had been trying to blend in with the wall decor, finally spoke up. If I may point out, we are generating substantial revenue. Revenue? Archon Zeltrix exploded. This was supposed to be a punishment facility. Well, Zarnix ventured. Technically, we are punishing them. Have you seen the prices at the gift shop? Before Archon Zeltrix could respond, the emergency communication channel activated. A frantic junior officer appeared on SAR's screen. Sorry to interrupt, but we have a situation. The humans have organized something called a flash mob with the magnetic mountains. A what with the what? Several council members asked simultaneously. They've somehow synchronized the mountain's magnetic pulses to play something called We Will Rock You, while the carnivorous trees provide backup dancers. It's trending on something called TikTok and... oh no. What now? Kareth asked, already feeling a headache forming in all three of their brains. Disney Galactic Entertainment just offered to buy the entire Northern Hemisphere. They're calling it Phase 1 of something called Project Extreme Earth. Archon Zeltrix turned their attention back to Kareth, their voice eerily calm. Please tell me you at least maintained control over the prison population. Kulara, still apparently immune to the concept of self-preservation, pulled up another holographic display. Oh, the original inmates. They formed a business consortium. From felons to fortune, Extreme Tourism Enterprises, they're actually our most successful partners. Last month's prison break experience package was completely sold out. Turns out humans will pay premium rates to be chased by our security drones while trying to escape through the deadly jungle. They're paying to break out of prison in a place that was designed to prevent prison breaks. One of the council members seemed to be having trouble processing this concept. Yes, and they even fill out customer satisfaction surveys afterward. Our biggest complaint is that the security drones aren't menacing enough. We've had to program them to laugh maniacally while pursuing the guests. Kareth watched as Archon Zeltrix's color shifted through various shades of disbelief before settling on a particularly interesting tone of apoplectic rage. In our defense, they offered, this is technically the most successful rehabilitation program in galactic history. Our recidivism rate is 0. Because they're all too busy running tourist operations to commit crimes, Archon Zeltrix roared. Exactly. Isn't it wonderful how capitalism can be a force for positive change? Before Archon Zeltrix could respond, another emergency message flashed across the screens. Kulara read it and started making that concerning laughing sound again. What is it now? Drojal asked, finally peeling themselves away from their attempt to quantum tunnel through the wall. Remember those giant mosquitoes? The humans have entered them in the Galactic Racing Championship, and they just won all 3 podium positions. They're calling it a historic moment for interspecies sports cooperation. Kareth turned to the review board who seem to be collectively going through the 5 stages of grief simultaneously. So, about that budget increase for the gift shop expansion. Out! Archon Zeltrix bellowed. Everyone out! And someone get me whatever humans drink to deal with situations like this. 1 methane mocha coming right up. Assistant Nexari chirped. Would you like to try our new Extreme Beans loyalty program? 5 purchases gets you a free I Survived Exile Prime t-shirt. As they were escorted out of the chamber, Kaerith could have sworn they heard Archon Zeltrix muttering something about early retirement. In the background, the faint sound of Queen's "We Will Rock You" played from the synchronized magnetic mountains, accompanied by the enthusiastic choreography of several thousand carnivorous trees. Just another day in the galaxy's most successful failed prison project. The Galactic Diplomatic Corps headquarters was experiencing what could only be described as an existential crisis. Kaerith stood before yet another board of increasingly agitated alien officials, this time accompanied by both Assistant Nexari and a human cultural advisor named Envoy Blaze Thunder Extreme Johnson, who had insisted the word "extreme" be included in all official documentation. So, began Supreme Diplomatic Coordinator Diplomat General Croth, their tentacles twitching with barely contained frustration. You're telling me that 17 different species have now filed formal complaints about Exile Prime? Complaints is such a harsh word, Envoy Blaze Thunder interjected, grinning in that uniquely human way that made most alien species check their disaster insurance policies. I prefer to think of them as enthusiastic feedback. Kaerith's crystalline structure made a sound suspiciously like a sigh. Perhaps we should address the issues one at a time. Diplomat General Croth pulled up a holographic list that seemed to stretch into infinity. Very well. Let's start with the Vexclor Empire's complaint about their youth being corrupted by extreme sports culture. Ah, yes. Assistant Nexari chimed in, their bioluminescence pulsing with what might have been amusement. It seems their younglings have started a fan club for branching out Barbara and are demanding their own carnivorous tree saplings as pets. Those trees were engineered as lethal biological weapons. Envoy Blaze Thunder nodded enthusiastically. Exactly. That's why they make such great pets. They're super loyal once you teach them tricks. Barbara can now do a triple backflip while juggling smaller predatory plants. She's up for an Extreme Entertainment Award in the Best Non-Sentient Performer category. Diplomat General Croth's tentacles tied themselves into what appeared to be a stress knot. Moving on, the Arathak Confederation is demanding we shut down something called Magnetic Mountain Music Festival. Oh, that's been fantastic for diplomatic relations? Envoy Blaze Thunder exclaimed. Did you know that magnetic disturbances can create some sick beats? We've got DJs from 12 different species collaborating with the mountains now. Last week's performance of Another One Bites the Space Dust caused 3 minor astronomical phenomena and got us nominated for a Galactic Grammy. That's not... Diplomat General Croth began, but was interrupted by an urgent communication. A harried-looking official appeared on screen. Supreme Coordinator, the hive mind of Beta Centauri is what? Diplomat General Croth demanded. They're requesting immediate transport of their entire collective to Exile Prime. Something about wanting to experience extreme group consciousness. Expansion through synchronized mosquito racing. Kaerith watched as Diplomat General Croth's color shifted to what their species' medical professionals would probably classify as concerning before anyone could respond. Another message flashed across the screens. The crystalline consciousness of Rigel 6 has just purchased exclusive rights to broadcast Keeping Up with the Killer Trees across their Crystal Matrix network. Assistant Nexari reported. They're particularly interested in the upcoming episode where Barbara the Tree competes in the Interstellar Dance-Off Championships. A tree. In a dance competition, Diplomat General Croth seemed to be having trouble processing this concept. "Oh, you should see her routine," Envoy Blaze Thunder enthused. "She's combined traditional photosynthesis movements with something we call breakdancing. The judges from the Andromedan Dance Federation called it a revolutionary fusion of biological warfare and artistic expression." Another urgent message appeared. Assistant Nexari's bioluminescent patches flickered rapidly as they read it. "The Mechanical Collective of Tau Ceti is demanding citizenship rights for our security drones." "Ah, yes," Kareth said, wondering if it was too late to transfer to that antimatter juggling career. "It seems the drones have developed quite a following after we programmed them with maniacal laughter. They've started a social media platform called RoboTalk, where they share videos of their most dramatic chase sequences. The drones are influencers now?" Diplomat General Croth's voice had reached a pitch that probably violated several physics laws. "Oh, totally," Envoy Blaze Thunder beamed. "They've even started their own fashion line, Pursuit Couture, for the dramatically inclined android. The Mechanical Collective is particularly fond of their cape collection." Before Zithorax could respond, yet another emergency transmission cut in. This time it was a representative from the Galactic Entertainment Council. "We need to discuss the upcoming Extreme Universe Games," the representative began, specifically the new event, combining Danger Dolphin racing, magnetic mountain parkour, and synchronized tree gymnastics. "We're concerned about the potential ratings breaking our measurement systems." Envoy Blaze Thunder looked positively delighted. "Wait until they hear about the halftime show. We've taught the mosquitoes to spell out messages in formation, while the security drones perform their award-winning interpretive dance piece Pursuit of Happiness in C minor." Zithorax turned to Kareth, all their tentacles now bathed in what appeared to be advanced macrame patterns of distress. "Please tell me this can't get any more complicated." Kareth was about to respond when Assistant Nexari's communication panel lit up again. The hive mind queens of the Scorpius cluster are requesting political asylum on Exile Prime." "Political asylum? Why?" "They say their subjects are too boring, and they want to join something called Real Housewives of the Death World instead. Apparently they're big fans of Barbara the Tree's reality show and want to start their own series called Queens of the Extreme." Envoy Blaze Thunder nodded sagely. "Reality TV bringing the galaxy together, one ridiculous show at a time." Zithorax's tentacles had now achieved what appeared to be a new form of geometric impossibility. This was supposed to be a prison planet. How did it become the galaxy's premier entertainment and diplomatic crisis center? Crisis Envoy Blaze Thunder looked genuinely confused. "This is the most successful cultural exchange program in galactic history. Did you know we've achieved more interspecies peace treaties through extreme sports than through traditional diplomacy? Turns out nothing brings different species together like the shared experience of almost dying for fun." As if to prove his point, another message flashed across the screens. The formerly warring species of the Crab Nebula had just signed a peace treaty during a pause in the Magnetic Mountain Music Festival's performance of We Are the Champions. Kareth watched as Zithorax slowly slumped in their chair, all tentacles going limp. "I don't suppose anyone has that human drink, the one they call extra strong coffee." "Even better," Envoy Blaze Thunder grinned. "I've got some methane mochas from Max the Menace Martinez's newest location. He's opened a branch right here in the Diplomatic Corps headquarters. The slogan is, Peace through caffeine, because even alien species need their fix." As Zithorax accepted the drink with a trembling tentacle, Kareth couldn't help but wonder, had they accidentally created the most effective tool for galactic peace and harmony through their attempt to build the perfect prison. And somewhere on Exile Prime, Barbara the Tree was probably practicing her dance moves for the upcoming Galactic Unity Festival, while a hive mind queen filmed her next reality show episode and the security drones modeled their latest cape collection. Just another day in the diplomatic nightmare that had somehow become the galaxy's greatest success story. One galactic standard year later, Kay Reith stood in the newly constructed Extreme Universe Games Stadium, formerly known as the Valley of Certain Death, watching as the opening ceremony for the biggest and sporting event in galactic history unfolded below. Beside them, Assistant Nexari was practically vibrating with excitement, while Valaxur, who had somehow failed upward into becoming the Minister of Interspecies Entertainment, looked simultaneously proud and traumatized. "I still can't believe this is actually happening," Kay Reith muttered, watching as a formation of giant mosquitoes, Squeetos, spelled out, "Welcome to the first annual Extreme Universe Games," in various languages while performing aerial acrobatics. "Oh, just wait." Envoy Blaze Thunder Extreme Johnson, now the official human ambassador of extreme diplomacy, grinned that trademark grin that made insurance companies across the galaxy preemptively raise their premiums. Wait until they see the main event. Well, as if on cue, the stadium erupted in cheers as Barbara the Tree, wearing what appeared to be a designer sportswear line specially created for murderous flora, led a synchronized dance routine involving 200 other carnivorous trees, 50 danger dolphins performing backflips through rings of fire, and a choir of security drones whose maniacal laughter had been auto-tuned into something surprisingly melodic. Are they performing Circle of Life from The Lion King?" Valaxur asked weakly, with a remix by DJ Magmount from the Magnetic Mountains. Assistant Nexari confirmed enthusiastically. The Hive Mind Queens provided backup vocals, and the Mechanical Collective added some sick robotic beats. The stadium's diplomatic box was packed with representatives from every major galactic civilization. Kay Reith noticed that even Supreme Diplomatic Coordinator, Diplomat General Croth, was there, their tentacles now permanently frozen in what xenobiologists had termed the pretzel of perpetual resignation. "Breaking news," Assistant Nexari announced, checking their feeds. "The broadcast is breaking viewing records across all known dimensions. Even the quantum realm is tuning in and... oh my. What now?" Kay Reith asked, though they really should have known better. The Interdimensional Entertainment Network wants to franchise the concept. They're calling it Extreme Multiverse, where every reality is an adventure. Before Kay Reith could process this, the stadium erupted in another round of cheers as Max the Menace Martinez, former notorious criminal turned galactic coffee shop mogul, rode in on what appeared to be a professionally modified security drone, wearing a sparkly cape and hover boots. "Ladies, gentlemen, and beings of all quantum states," Max announced, his voice booming across the stadium. "Welcome to the most extreme event in the history of, well, everything. But first, who wants free samples of our new Quantum Quake espresso? Guaranteed to keep you awake across multiple dimensions." From their VIP box, the Hive Mind Queens of Scorpius were filming everything for their reality show, which had somehow become the highest-rated program in galactic history. Their latest episode, Drama in the Death World, Barbara's Big Break, had caused 3 peaceful revolutions and 1 marriage proposal between previously warring species. "Oh, heads up," Envoy Blaze Thunder called out. "Here comes the parade of athletes." The stadium floor opened up a feature that was originally designed as a trapdoor into a pit of acid, but had been repurposed for entertainment, and out came the most diverse collection of competitors the galaxy had ever seen. A team of VX Chlor youth, riding domesticated smaller versions of the carnivorous trees, now marketed as extreme pets. the answer to your boring garden. The entire Mechanical Collective's synchronized drone dance team, each wearing increasingly elaborate capes designed by their new fashion division. A delegation from the crystalline consciousness performing what they called extreme meditation while surfing the methane lakes. Various human athletes who had somehow made careers out of finding new and interesting ways to almost die for sport. And even a group of reformed space pirates who had traded illegal activities for becoming adventure tourism consultants. By the way, Assistant Nexari mentioned casually, "Remember that prison break simulation experience? It's now being used as a team-building exercise by the Galactic Peace Council. They say nothing brings diplomats together like running from laughing security drones through a deadly jungle." K-Ryth was about to respond when they noticed something odd in the sky above the stadium. Are those the magnetic mountains? Indeed, several of the mountains had somehow been transported through means nobody quite wanted to question to form a floating ring around the stadium. As they watched, the mountains began pulsing in sequence, creating what could only be described as a rock concert in the most literal sense possible. "Oh yeah," Envoy Blaze Thunder beamed. "They're performing their new album, Geological Revolution, Sounds of the Death World. It's already platinum in 16 star systems. The mountains are going on tour next month." Drojal, who had been unusually quiet, finally spoke up. "You know what the strangest part is? Our rehabilitation statistics are the best in the galaxy. Turns out, giving people an opportunity to channel their criminal tendencies into extreme sports and entertainment is surprisingly effective." Speaking of statistics, Q-Lara added, checking their data feeds, "Exile Prime, or Exile Prime, as it's now officially registered in the Galactic Database, has become the most profitable venture in the history of the Galactic Council. We're actually having to turn away investment offers from other dimensions." The ceremony reached its climax as Barbara the Tree, now a galactic celebrity, with her own merchandise line and fan club, performed a stunning finale that involved juggling smaller predatory plants while doing a tree-style interpretation of Swan Lake, accompanied by the security drone orchestra and a light show created by synchronized mosquito formations. As the crowd went wild, K-Ryth turned to their colleagues with what their species' equivalent of a smile. "You know what? Maybe we didn't fail at creating the perfect prison planet after all." Drojal raised their equivalent of an eyebrow. "We accidentally created something better, a place where the galaxy's most dangerous elements transform into its most entertaining ones. Where better to rehabilitate criminals than a place that turns danger into sport and threats into tourist attractions." Envoy Blaze Thunder nodded enthusiastically. "Plus, we're opening a university next month, the Extreme Academy of Applied Adventure Studies. Our motto is, where every class is a near-death experience." Q-Lara's communication panel pinged one final time. "Oh, this is interesting. The Galactic Council just voted to officially redesignate Exile Prime. We're now classified as a cultural preservation and extreme entertainment heritage site." As the ceremony concluded, with a spectacular display of bioluminescent creatures forming a galaxy-wide peace symbol coordinated by the Hive Mind Queens for their season finale, K-Ryth couldn't help but reflect on the strange journey that had led them here. They had set out to build the perfect prison planet, and had instead created a place where the galaxy's most dangerous elements became its greatest entertainment, where bitter enemies became extreme sports teammates, and where even the most hardened criminals could find a new purpose, usually involving either extreme sports, reality TV, or artisanal coffee. And somewhere in the distance, the Magnetic Mountains played their chart-topping hit, "We Will Rock You," literally, while Barbara the Tree practiced her routine for the upcoming Galactic Dance Championships, and the security drones filmed their next fashion vlog. Welcome to Exile Prime, where every sentence becomes an adventure, and the only real crime is not being extreme enough. The end. The end.